I'm Regina, and you are you. Welcome to Conversations with Regina. Gosh, it seems like it's been pretty sparse lately around here, and so I'm really looking forward into this topicless show. Um, so yeah, everything's always without a topic for me because I'm such a flake. I think, oh my stars. I just like, it occurred to me yesterday that we hadn't talked about it at all. And so we kind of wanted to go with last week's topic, which was really pretty open-ended too. And so gosh, I can't even remember how to say it right this second. My mind just went blank. So first off, let's take care of business because I see my co-host is in the green room finally. Yay! Hi, Casey. Uh, oh, mercy me. Excuse me. Um, and so do the gosh, where's my banners and whatnot? I am so disorganized here. Please subscribe to my channel, Conversations with Regina, and hit the like button. We need all the likes we can get, and please do choose to subscribe and ring the bell and stay notified, because sometimes I am not very good about getting stuff up in a timely fashion. Simone a couple of weeks ago was saying, Regina, you just need to get that up on Tuesday by noon. And I completely agree. And so last night I got it up by midnight. And it gets out there a lot better if I do that. But I just got so busy yesterday. I've been trying to I have a dinner engagement on Thursday night, which is usually my big night to roast coffee. And so I'm trying to get all my coffee done. And so I just ran out of time. It was just horrible. And so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So give me a subscription, hit that notification button, and it just solves everything. Of course, I've already mentioned roasting coffee, and my business is Ray's Roast Coffee. I'm the owner, roaster, chief shipping agent, and what other label do you need? It's a one-person show here at the coffee. It's not here at Regina's Conversation anymore, but Ray's Roast Coffee is one person deal. It pays for all of this, and so I need to do a little bit of advertising, to just say, this is one of the really fine coffees. I do a lot of single origin varietals, and today I'm drinking I do one blend, but I roast it in two different ways. I do a darker roast, as some folks like to do a darker roasted espresso. And then I have some younger folks who like a lighter roasted espresso. And today I happen to be drinking the lighter roasted blend. We call it the Queen's Blend, and you can actually request, I think, to get it done in a lighter roast or a medium. And it is so good. I sent a sample off to Tim down there. Remember Tim from a few months back when we did the tour of their facility, to do a tasting down there in their room. And I scored out pretty well, a little lower than I would have liked. But he said, that it scored really well for a blend. And so I'll take that. I will take that. And life is good. And so there you have it. And so now, without further ado, let me bring on my cohort in crime this week, the one, the only, Casey. Hey, how come you're muted?
That might help.
Yeah, what'd you do there now?
I muted it because my daughter's here and she likes to,
Oh,
she likes to, be noisy.
hey, she's
So,
marvelous. She can make noise on my show anytime. How are you?
pretty good actually. Life is hectic as usual, but nothing I can't handle. Out of the frying pan into the fire.
Absolutely. There's a rumor around that we don't get anything that we can't handle.
Yeah, exactly.
We can handle it all. Some of it's easier to handle than other parts, but we'll get through it. There's another old saying that I hear that this too shall pass.
This too shall pass. Yes, very much so.
And so those are, the little positivity. I don't know. We're all locking down here in the Northwest again. How's the COVID thing going back there?
Some buildings are going back to everybody mask up. Not everything is back to that yet. And we're just kind of taking it a day at a time, working on getting accustomed to our new governor, and it's just one day at a time.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, Oregon, which is what, as the crow flies, or actually as the highway goes, is about 35 miles from me. And they are, mandated to wear a mask outdoors, even whether you're vaccinated or not. And we're still at the indoor stage. I went to the grocery store here in our little town, and that was like 50% of the people still were without masks. And it kind of freaked me out because last week I heard that they had a bunch of outbreak in there with their employees. And so this was the first time I'd gone thinking they'd got it under control. And I don't know. I'm thinking it might be wise to drive the 30 miles.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I was all messed up and whatnot, so I'm pretty sure I didn't get sick but I'm old enough to know better. I can't understand why this has turned into an us and them thing. And so let's talk about that for a few minutes.
Oh, geez. Where to go with that? The us and them. It's so long as there have been differences in opinion, there's always been an us and a them. It's part of it comes with being human and having, like, everyone has little different quirks and ideas. Like, we all may get to this, from A to Z, but we may not all take the same exact path. And because of the fact that there are people who, we all see things differently, it's always going to be an us versus them. There's always going to be someone who doesn't like something about something we've done, and there are things that we're not going to like about things that they've done. Well, while we may be the more tolerant, I think tolerance is the best word I can. But while we may be the more tolerant ones, it's still, differences of opinion, and we are finding we have to rise above and show the other side, them, that even though we have differences of opinion, we can we have the wisdom to know when we are in over our heads, and to yeah, it's always going to be a thing, and the best.
Well, let's go back and just take in the viruses, because polio was a problem when I was born. My
Mhm.
uncle spent some time in an iron lung, and when I was about 5, before they had the vaccine, my sister came down with polio, and it was a big freaking thing. And um, you know, when they came up with the vaccine, everybody took it.
Mhm.
There didn't have to be any, because there had been so, I mean, none of that
Yeah.
chatter. There was a certain unity amongst the population to just go with the vaccine because the alternative wasn't so good. Now we've only had 600,000 people die in this country since, and to me, my opinion is to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't see. I think for once we need to set stuff aside and like you were talking about, and rise above the occasion, show some unity and some cohesiveness amongst our fellows. I don't want everybody in the world to be like me.
No.
God, that would just be so boring. Oh, dang. It would just be horrible if we were all like you, or all like me, or we need the diversity. I mean, I always think that there's radicals on both sides and we need them,
Mhm.
but when it comes to things like this, we need to join together and be unified. There's a lot of things right now that are very divisive, and this whole thing with this doesn't need to be,
No, not at
in
all.
my opinion. And call me what you will, but that's just the way I feel about it. And if your opinion differs, that's fine. But
Yeah.
don't need to call me a name or anything.
No,
You
not
know,
necessary.
yeah,
But
yeah,
like you
totally
said,
not necessary. I'm not
you
going
know,
to call you names, but here we
exactly.
go. Simone going. So, yeah, no, Simone. No one needs to be like me. Uh, mm. So anyway, that's kind of the way I see it. The whole thing about unity is God. We need to pull together over
Mhm.
something. I mean, we don't always have to be at just like throat slitting odds with everybody.
No, and it's the more we continue to do it, the even if they're small, we're taking steps backwards from our goal. What's that phrase? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so, like right now, we the entire world, regardless of how we each think, all have a common enemy, and that common enemy is COVID. So you know you know we need to band together to do what we can to it, and it's probably never going away, but we need to at least diminish its effects so that we don't have 600,000 people dead within the course of a year, or sick, or whatever. It, we need we it, There has to come a point in where we begin to unify as one. Hi. um, to unify as one to fight our common enemy, and our common enemy is Corona. And the more we continue to back and forth bicker with each other, the more everybody's going to lose.
Right. And there's a lot of things. We could take this now, since we've kind of like, okay, we all need to get on the same page with this and just get vaccinated up. Let's whip it. I mean, that's, to me, what our country was all about, was just getting together and taking care of business and fixing stuff. And so, the other thing that's really been on my mind a lot this year is like how freaking hot it got here in the North Country. Another 20 degrees north of here, they were at 120 degrees.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, I think it was above that. Yeah, it was at the 60th parallel. So that's only 10 degrees, 12 degrees, or I don't know. I guess we're 45 here. So
and that's another one too. Like that's another issue that if we all could band together and come up to some middle ground on, we could have probably not necessarily avoided it, but not necessarily sped it up. We have literally sped up the global warming concept, and now everybody's losing. It's another one of those as long as we keep fighting against each other, everyone's gonna lose.
Right. And it's we talk about global warming, but it really gets down to climate change, because the way they taught me in college is if it gets warm enough, then that jet stream collapses. And so then it becomes frigid and another ice age is kicked in. And what was that movie had Dennis Quaid, and it just iced up.
The Day After Tomorrow?
Yeah, so I think that was it. Yeah. When New York City was like 4 feet or 40 feet under the ice in 15 minutes of the movie. And how's that? But aside from the matter, whether the qualities of the movie were, I saw that mentioned in an article the other day when it was talking about the jet stream collapsing, that we're really close to that now. Jeez. And what an interesting situation that would be. I don't know what that does to the West Coast or how any of that looks, but it's just weird. It's just weird. So why don't we unify and get together and quit using fossil fuels? It seems like some of this is pretty simple. We have a lot of brain power in this nation here on the North American continent, and because if that all collapses, Canada's in quite a bit of trouble. And there's a few of my friends that live up there.
Yeah.
And if we're getting iced out in New York City, say, so is Montreal and all of that. So we might want to put some thought into what we're doing to our planet, because I got interest in the Caribbean, and some of that's pretty freaking hot down there this time of year, especially when you start counting the humidity.
Yeah.
If 120 here in the Northwest becomes common, that's only 15 degrees from being lethal, where if you stay out there very long, pretty soon we can put a meat thermometer in you and see if you're ready. As much as I hate to make light of that, that's the truth. We'll cook. already poor Tank, he has to stay home when it's over like 80 degrees because the car's too hot if I have to leave him in there for 5 minutes.
Yep.
And so like he gets really excited. We're in the midst of like 70-degree weather. And so he gets to go places during the daylight,
Let's go.
and he's just thrilled. I suppose we should check into the comments and see how everybody is. It's going crazy over there. I haven't looked at all.
Yeah, I'm kind of keeping, watching it kind of on the side here.
Well, I'm so busy talking the way I always do. Oh my God, look at all of this.
Yeah.
Whoa. There, that's back up. Hi, Holly. I'm glad you could make it today. Oh, it's not a blouse.
It's a full dress.
Oh, it's a dress. Woohoo! God, it got shoved way back in the back of the closet. It's like a real lightweight dress. I really kind of like it, and so thank you. You didn't. That was way more than what that all was supposed to do. But anyway, I'm just having fun. Are you having fun yet, Casey?
Oh yeah, having a blast.
Oh gosh. So where did we start the show? And Casey and Ash is here.
Yeah, saw Ash.
And Simone is here someplace. Hi, Simone. And of course, Christy's here, as always, our faithful moderator. So glad. Hey, Samantha, how are you? So what do we got? I'm from Portland. Masks are now mandated in outside public areas. If you have gotten, the file is said to be over 90% effective in the latest mutation right now. Good to know. Tolerant. Here we go. Tolerant. Sometimes not. Most of us don't understand the difference between tolerance and liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Oh, we did that one before. What this? The vaccines aren't an issue of liberty to become abusive to others. They're an issue of responsibility to ourselves and others. Amen. Yes. Amen.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly it, Christy. That's exactly it. Because we can't come to find some sort of middle ground, everybody's getting hurt.
But facts are facts. It's not. So somehow we've all gotten to wondering what the hell the truth is.
Mm-hmm.
What are the facts? The facts are the truth. And I've kind of quit watching the news because I can't trust any of it.
Yeah.
Whether you're on the networks or whatnot, I just don't know what the truth is. Mm-hmm. And I don't know.
Truth is relative.
What's that?
Truth is relative. It's relative to the person. Well, everyone has their own concept of what truth is.
Well, I tell you, some of the stuff that some people are passing off as truth is not true at all. It gets back to the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like Walter Cronkite was the last person to report facts. And that's been before your time.
Mm-hmm. I cannot get over, like, Samantha, you remind me of someone I used to go to high school with. Like, your facial features look so familiar. Oh, sorry, I just had to point that out. I actually dated the girl who that you look so much like, and it's so it's just kind of a this to see your face pop up there. I'm sorry.
Isn't that funny? It's a small world. You just never know.
Yeah. We report you to side.
When yeah, that's weird. What? And Christy, what are you doing listening to Fox News on the radio? Resistance is futile. I love that. Yeah, so true. I'm going through these so fast. Oh, I already did that one. And then tu estultus, you're stupid. That doesn't sound like the entertainment model either, even though it's satire.
Yeah.
That's are currently living in a disaster movie scenario. Well, you know, I love calling this the apocalypse, because if we don't figure out how to unify and get it together, it could be.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's like you take all of the different possible apocalypse movies and you just kind of smush them together in one, and we are on the fast track right to it.
Well, you remember the movie Idiocracy?
No.
Oh, you should. If you get Netflix or something like that, you should look it up. It was, I think, out in the 80s or 90s, and who is cryo frozen, when they die, and then at some point they forget to fill the nitrogen tank, and so this dude wakes up. And just by his waking now, he becomes the smartest person on the planet. And the president was this dude with a machine gun, and there's garbage all through the streets and whatnot. It's really kind of funny. And it freaked me out watching that when a couple of during the elections in a year, as the candidates get worse and worse. One thing about is that this is something that happens naturally to all planets, and it's not just Earth; it's all the planet. Pollution speeds it up. True, and that's always something to keep in mind, that this is a natural process too, but we don't have to be going so fast towards it. Oh God, somebody's at my door.
Oh geez.
Yeah. So I'm not sure that I'm going to answer it. So anyway, people do not want to change. Yeah, that's the whole thing, Holly. But the important thing is that they really need to. And so what's it going to take?
Yeah.
I mean, it gets down to all these different things about, like, Nikolai Tesla theoretically had free energy already to give out, and then all those papers that he had written disappeared, and so how much of that is conspiracy theory and how much of it's the truth?
Yeah.
I mean, he built some stuff and he was like out there, and he was not about the corporate model. And, so much of that all disappeared. And so what's up with that? I think sometimes the corporations are some of our problems,
Yeah.
and I guess that was our top. It just came to me what I put the title of the show as is understanding the world that the
Yeah.
world that you know. And so, you know, what there's so much that we
There
can
is.
do. And so petty bickering amongst us or the next level out or the next level after
Mhm.
that or the next level after that really kind of needs to disappear. I mean, it gets back to we just need to love each other.
Mhm.
And that's always kind of the message that I want to get out there is like love each other. Because what else do we have? This brings me to my reading
There
today.
we go.
So it's kind of a long one, but I really think that it's a good one in light of what we're talking about
Okay.
and what we can do about it. We can start right here with ourselves. And so um, so this is from the Four Agreements.
Okay. Four agreements.
And it's from the title Heaven on Earth, from the chapter. And so I'm going to read what, 2 pages, something like that. Just use your imagination, and a tremendous thing will happen. Imagine that you have the ability to see the world with different eyes whenever you choose. Each time you open your eyes, you see the world around you in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And look outside. What you will see is love coming out of the trees, love coming out of the sky, love coming out of the light. You will perceive love from everything around you. This is the state of bliss. You perceive love directly from everything, including yourself and other humans, even when humans are sad or angry. Behind these feelings, you can see that they are also sending love. Using your imagination and your new eyes of perception, I want you to see yourself living a new life, a new dream, a life where you don't need to justify your existence and you are free to be who you really are. Imagine that you have permission to be happy and really enjoy your life. Your life is free of conflict with yourself and with others. Imagine living your life without fear of expressing your dreams. You know what you want, what you don't want, and when you want it. You are not afraid to ask for what you need, to say yes or no to anything or anyone. Imagine living your life without the fear of being judged by others. You no longer rule your behavior according to what others may think about you. You are no longer responsible for anyone's opinion. You have no need to control anyone, and no one controls you either. Imagine living your life without judging others. You can easily forgive others and let go of any judgments that you have. You don't have the need to be right, and you don't need to make anyone else wrong. You respect yourself and everyone else, and they respect you in return. Imagine living without the fear of loving and not being loved. You are no longer afraid to be rejected, and you don't have the need to be accepted. You can say, I love you with no shame or justification. You can walk in the world with your heart completely open and not be afraid to be hurt. Imagine living your life without being afraid to take a risk and to explore life. You're not afraid to lose anything. You are not afraid to be alive in the world, and you are not afraid to die. Imagine that you love yourself just the way you are. You love your body just the way it is. And you love your emotions just the way they are. You know that you are perfect just as you are. The reason I asked you to imagine those things is because they are all entirely possible. You can live in the state of grace, the state of bliss, the dream of heaven, but in order to experience this dream, you must first understand what it is. So that's my reading for the day. Imagine that. You know, if we can set aside our differences and start imagining that, what would that be like?
Endless possibilities. Endless.
Yeah, endless.
Because while
Oh,
we're all like puzzle pieces, we all have different things that help complement each other. And when we put those puzzle pieces together in a constructive fashion, is when you really get to see the big picture. But so long as we've got people who are flipping their puzzle piece the wrong direction and trying to, to connect with others, we can't connect properly, and we continue to have differences. Like you said, setting aside the differences is the difference between that puzzle piece that doesn't connect and one that does. It's really it's easier than a lot of people think it is. Hi.
yes. You know, it's just like, you know, I talk about opening my heart to others that I might disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know what that means. How do you do that? Well, I think that goes on to talk about saying hello to somebody that you're standing next to, you know, with greeting them warmly and greeting them with a smile. Now we have to figure out how to smile with our eyes, you know, but it's not that hard to read because I'm smiling and my eyes are different when I smile.
Yeah.
You know, and I think everybody's are. And so we can still greet each other warmly as we're passing on the street. You know, I suppose in Portland or New York City or where there's thousands of people on the street, you might get hoarse or something. But who cares? You know, look at all the people who are going to smile back at you.
Yeah.
You know, I love those videos that you see occasionally about the free hug people.
Oh,
and
yeah.
people walking up and getting their free hug.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that marvelous? Because sometimes that's all we need to make our days, you know. I don't always have every day is bliss. You know, there are days when I just want to be able to walk down the street and have somebody smile at me. You know, I often talk with other communities that I'm part of about how great my life is. You know, because I live in this little town and you know, I walk down the street and people say, "Hey, Regina," you know, cars will go by and go, "Hey, Regina, how you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And you know, last night I was out walking on the dike by the golf course, and you know, the golfers are down there waving at me and whatnot, and I know who they are mostly, and it's not some kind of weird thing going on. It's just people being friendly.
Yeah.
And you know what a concept. And if we was to start doing that in our lives, could that work up to where we start unifying on a bigger level?
Yeah. And it's such a far off concept, especially now with COVID being a thing. People are like, oh, I can't, and we got to stay on 6 feet, 6 feet, and yeah, I get it, but at the same time, because of that, we are losing one of the fundamental pieces of humanity, which is the social aspect.
Yes. So how do we keep the social aspect going at 6 feet apart when a lot of us just crave touching another human being?
Mhm.
You and your family group. I mean, it's just wonderful to see your daughter climbing on you. But then there's us older senior citizens who live alone like myself. And there are many of them, and I'm not one of them, who are trapped in their house essentially.
Mhm.
How do they get socialized, and what can we do to make their lives brighter, regardless of who they are,
Yeah.
or what? It's just like, do we need to go knock on their door and make sure they're okay?
It
or
could
or
start there.
and this is one of the things as I get older. I laugh about it, but on one hand it's kind of serious. Is I was talking to my hiking partner the other day. I said, yeah, you should check in on me once in a while. I'll be 71 years old here pretty soon, and I could go any minute. It's not the end of the world. I mean, it might be for me, but it's the end of this journey. And I don't want to be locked in my house with my dog. I really kind of like for my dog not to have to eat me, you know. But if nobody comes and checks, during this
Mhm.
COVID thing,
Mhm.
and or calls or anything, how is that not become a possibility? I mean, I don't think my dog would eat me, but if he's locked inside long enough, who knows? It's happened to others,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's not even that uncommon. And I mean, I guess what we should do is kind of check who's in our lives. It's a little more senior. You
Mhm.
know, I don't want to get going on that particularly any more than I already have, but it's about checking in with people and being. How do we become unified? Is really where I need to get back
Mhm.
to.
Mhm.
So how do we do that?
Less of the us versus them, less of the it's in order to really be able to concentrate on facts, people need to be willing to share the truth and um not want to put their own twist on it. It has to stay fundamentally original, because as soon as you start putting your own things onto it, it's not what it originally was. So how can that be called the truth? It has to stay pure. The truth has to stay pure, and people have to be willing to share that knowledge, whether it sounds good or bad in the long run, because the sharing of the truth without all the sugarcoating on top of it is in fact what will be better for humanity as a whole. When we sugarcoat it, we're hiding what's really going on underneath with everyone's opinions. We remove the opinions and focus just on what's there, what's in front of us, what science and research and whatnot, what these things are actually saying. And that's the first step. We have to drop the opinions. Opinions are nice, but opinions are like butts. Everyone has one, and they all stink.
Right, right. But you know, I think whoops. I think sometimes what we have to do is find that common ground before we even get to the opinions.
Yeah.
The other day I ran into a friend of mine who I consider to be a pretty good friend. She's one of the most conservative ladies in this town. And she invited me to go to lunch with her. And so I said, sure. And so we're sitting there and she starts talking, conservative agenda. And I just, I didn't get into an argument. I just said, well, you know that I'm a pretty liberal Democrat. And it got really quiet at the table for a second. And she changed the subject. And we got back into that conversation that we were laughing about, and just being friends was all that was important in that moment. And she bought my lunch that day, and it was a great afternoon, well spent. I always enjoy spending time with her if we don't talk politics, and we don't normally. I'll go out to her farm and help out there, and sometimes it's difficult, but we're both humans. Her family's all humans, and I'm human, and they treat me with respect. Show up who have misgendered me, and my friend Amy corrects them. I don't have to say a word. She takes care of it. So, that's progress. Small, but it's progress. And sometimes that's all we can do. We don't ever really get to the facts. But sometimes we just need to get our toe in the door, so to speak. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, you've got the opportunity with all the people you see.
Yeah.
How is that going?
It's very stressful. I often don't really spend a lot of time conversing with people. I do on occasion, but a lot of my issue is just like I still have, like, and I know we talked about this on our last show, but like I still carry a lot of fear because we have, especially here in New York State, the like you could have a left and a right living next to each other, and unless someone flew a flag, no one would ever know.
Right.
And the ones who do, the arrogant ones who do fly their flags and have their, voice their opinions in whatever way, whatever. It's those are the ones that are like, okay, I see your view, I understand it, I don't agree with it, but I'm not necessarily going to tell you that I don't agree with it, because for your viewpoints mean you don't like me for various reasons. Yeah. You keep your viewpoint, and I'll go this way.
But some of those fears that people have about us, are based upon lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And if they never get to know, nothing changes.
Absolutely. And I have no problem.
But we have to be safe in the
Exactly.
So that's a hard balancing act.
I would have no problem, if someone was uneducated on the topic of people of transgender experience. I would have no problem saying, okay, here, this is, these are my feelings. This is what I deal with. These are the things that go through my head on a daily basis. This is my personal experience, and these are the experiences that many other people within the same, I can't even think of many within this section of the spectrum. Some of these are things that many other people deal with, and I would have no problem helping teach someone about that. But I have to get past the very first barrier of, I feel like I cannot walk up to you without Russian roulette. I feel like it's, you might be one of the ones who shoot on sight kind of person. I walk up to someone's house and I have no idea what kind of person they're going to be until I get there, and that's the Russian roulette part of it. If I walk up and I'm still alive after 10 seconds and you want to talk, yeah, let's chit chat. But I got to get past that 10 seconds first. If I don't make it past the first 10 seconds, well, I guess then we're, that's game over there. But
yeah. That's interesting. So then if we go back to the walking down the street and smiling and smiling with our eyes,
yeah,
we can get past the 10 seconds faster, can't we?
Hypothetically, yes.
Okay. I'll accept that.
There are still various factors, and I always hate being that person. I always feel like I'm that person.
Right. Now,
but like, one of the largest factors that's always going to be an issue for me for my entire life is going to be my skin color. Right. There are people out there. Hi, can you not do that, please? Thank you. There are going to be people out there who, they could see me from half a mile away, and this is pretty obvious. They're not going to like me on sight.
Right.
And there's nothing I can do to change that.
Right. And yeah, and I will admit I have no idea. I mean, look at me. And I my community here is relatively pretty white. And so I don't know, and it's totally unfair. But
and it's and I don't blame, like I blame the ancestors because they were the ones who started implementing all these different things and holding those values. And honestly, it's like I understand there are people who, there are people in the older generations who share those ideals. There are people in the younger generations who share those ideals, and in between. It's finding the ones who want to learn and teaching them, and trying to stay away from those who don't really care and let nature take its course. What was it, survival of the fittest or whatever that is? If they can't adapt to change, then they're gonna kind of fall off the end there. Um, because change is that's another thing too. Change is part of being alive. Change is okay. You put my foot to sleep, kiddo. All right. Change is everything. Like the world itself, it changes. You wake up. You wake up one day, every day, and it might look the things be some small difference from one day to the next. That's a change. Something changed. Can you not? Hi. Yes. Thank you. And um yeah, it's I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, we're doing what we can to change it all.
Mhm.
Let's go to there.
Yeah. And that's all we can do.
Yeah. I mean, where do we start?
With
In
the
this
ones who want
day
to
and
learn.
age, we get to start right here on YouTube.
Yeah, this is it.
And it's the best. It's what we know how to do today. And so let's notch that up as a win for the two of us.
Yeah, definitely.
And oh God, you're so awesome. Love you. Hey, let's check
You
in the
too.
chat room again.
Yeah.
So I'm still back where Barbara Ann came in, and I don't know what anybody. Oh, they're talking about a plastic island out in the middle of the ocean.
Whatever floats your boat.
So, it was Samantha. I read there's a plastic island in the Pacific. I don't know if it's that big, but I've seen some of those in the Caribbean. They're smaller. They're like chunks that those cruise ships, they put it in there, do a compact of the garbage, and then they dump it out the back of the boat when nobody's looking at night. And so there's all this plastic floating around. And if you snorkel long enough, you start seeing fish and tortoises more than anything else that are tangled up in that crap. I think that cruise ships should be outlawed quite.
There's too many people in one area.
Yeah. When it comes to facts, one of the things I check for is coherence. Much of what's broadcast is completely illogical. If it isn't coherent, it isn't so. I like that. Ash is very right on here. So many animals get caught in, like dolphins and everything else, whales. Corporations get away with it, but I feel like our younger generation is starting to get loud about this. Amen. I have so much hope for the younger generation.
Many of them are very...
In answer to your question, I must have that face.
The absolute darling, Samantha.
Yes. Gosh, we jumped a whole way. I think. Did we jump? Maybe it's just slow for our comments. No. Here's Christy. Because I gave her crap about what listening. Oh, I love you guys. Never listened. I'm with you, Holly. Once in a while when I'm driving, I'll turn on a baseball game and listen to it. Christy Woods knows Idiocracy. Soylent Green. Yeah. We're Amen. If you're getting old and in the wrong business, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I like that too, Holly. You're priceless. Hope everything's going well, Holly. Glad to see you here today. So,
to answer Christy's question,
there was a question.
up just a slight bit from these last couple by Holly.
Heidi was here. I missed Heidi. Oh dear.
So about hoodies, that's one of the reasons why people of color tend to flock towards hoodies. It's easier to distort features when you got these just giant baggy piece of clothing over you. A lot of that has also come from like misconceptions based on like gang related stuff. A lot of times people associate hoodies with gangs, and it was I think a lot of that was really just we want to distort our image. And yeah, exactly, an easy way to not get prejudged from 200 feet away, because when it's hard to make out what somebody looks like, then that person just becomes another cookie cutter in the billions of people on the planet. And you have to really take the time to get up close get up in their grill, I guess, to really see what is, what's going on. Hoodies, and then there's also the concept of the hood itself tends to help darken the features of the face, which also makes that difficult too. I have, and that's another reason why a lot of times you don't see a lot of people of color traveling at night. It's harder to see us, so it's harder to distinguish us from another person. I don't know if I told this story or not, but there was literally, I was sitting on my porch one night, and these two police officers, it was evening, and they came up to me and started calling me by somebody else's name, and I'm like, that's not me. That's not me. Here's my ID. This is not me. And just because it was dark and it was hard to determine all the exact facial features of mine, and this was back in first life. So facial features have changed since then, and it's things have really taken a turn when it comes to the social viewpoints that are stereotyped for people of color, regardless of what nationality they are. And a lot of that comes from lack of knowledge again, and then there's that old feeling of that old feeling that was held by the older generations of the superiority thing, where a lot of them still to this day don't like they would be perfectly content with if slavery and all that stuff was still a thing. And I see comments all over the place, and like one I'm unfortunately, like, I love her dearly because she's like she's my wife's grandmother. She's very often speaks her mind about it, and it's just like, honey, can you do something about your grandmother here? Like, seriously. But I just there comes a time when I just have to, like, okay, this is how they see the world. And some people are just so far entrenched in their habits that they can't change. And for some people, it's just best to be like, okay, it's been a great run. Have a nice day. I'll go this way. And yeah, it really is. But here we are. We are 2021, looking to make the world a better place, one YouTube channel at a time.
Well, we got to start someplace. And thanks for sharing all that. I mean, that's like hard stuff, you know. I like what Barbara Ann had to say here. When I leave this world, I want to leave kindness, love, compassion, understanding, world where all people are valued.
Yes, because that will be a world worth living in. Not saying that what we have right now isn't. It's just difficult to see it on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Yeah, sometimes I wonder, when I read the news or watch the news or whatever, and God, it's just not worth it. It's so negative, and there's just not enough good news out there, when the reality of it is there's all kinds of good news out there. It just doesn't sell papers. It doesn't make the headlines because it's good. And it's like we're all how do you say, feeding off. It's like a feeding frenzy. When somebody like starts feeling the pain, we all go in to feed on them, and good news doesn't get that many. Most of the the videos that are really go how do you say viral,
Mm-hmm.
they're really kind of like painful for somebody. You know,
Yeah.
it's about a pain or something going seriously wrong. And I've watched that stuff, and I always, I'm getting to the point now where I won't watch that because I feel guilty when I see the pain and I laugh, because how could you do that? How could you, and but then I start thinking, well, that's not, they didn't think it was funny when it happened to them. And anyway, love and kindness. I think it's the way to go.
Yeah, definitely. And bringing it back around to the original topic, understanding the world. Love and kindness are two of the fundamental words, um, fundamental traits for understanding the world, because we we love the world we live in, and we show kindness to those who may not agree with us, those who may not think the same way, who want to go down a different path, and then we love them as well. We love what we have. We to all of that, and then love the change, love ourselves, and love the world enough to continue facilitating that change, and carry on in some semblance of peace and prosperity. But until we, they're like these padlocks on these large wooden chests, and we're like janitors with 100 keys, and we're sitting here trying to find the right key to open that padlock. Some people never find that key. Some people don't even have that key. It's just that the key doesn't exist on their key ring. But we have to open. We have to find the right key, and finding that key is our life experience, going through different trials, different chapters in our lives. Those are the different keys until we finally unlock the kindness and the love. And once those open, they kind of they have the ability to flourish like flowers. It's just we have to open it first, and
Right.
we have to want to open it. Some people have that key on their key ring, but they just don't care enough to share it.
Well, it's kind of like goes back to the reading when we were talking about that world of bliss. Imagine this. They cannot imagine that kind it because it's all malarkey or something they don't believe. But you know um sometimes what we can ask is just believe that I believe that there is that world of bliss, that there is that land that we can imagine where we all love each other and we all work towards the same thing without being the same.
Mhm.
It just requires opening our hearts, and how exactly do you do that? And so, whoa, it's a never ending process. I don't think, we just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And sometimes it gets difficult. I mean, I can't say that I go through every day without being judgmental, and I hate that when that happens, but sometimes I take people's inventory, and it's not the nicest thing to do, but I'm human too,
Yeah.
and damn it, they did something to deserve me inventorying them. Justification.
Yep.
And we all have that ego that
Yeah.
is kind of the thing that is our mechanism for survival to now, but it's also kind of works against us in a lot of respects. And so like I would like to do away with my ego, but you know, feast or famine kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we've bored everybody to death, and so, oh my gosh, I think we did a good job, Casey. Actually, between you and me, I think that we're just going along just fine. And
Yeah.
oh, Christy's got another question here. Let's put that up. Do you think people can accept that they don't have to feel they are threatened by others for any reason? Is this a fundamental obstacle to loving others for people? Do you think people can accept they don't have to feel they are threatened? Well, that's a pretty deep side. I don't think that it's a obstacle at all, because for the most part, I do not feel threatened by most people. I,
People can make it, and people have the tendency to make it an obstacle, though.
I am sure. I am sure. But I think, personal appearance, I think that we have to somehow find it in our hearts to love those people somehow.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. It's yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, my experience is right now today, I walk out my door here and I'm not very threatened at all. Your experience where you're at might be different. And because of the differences in our skin colors and whatnot plays a major part of that. I'm sure. So what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to say unequivocally that love everybody, regardless of the obstacle. I just don't know what that's like.
It's what it really does is it just it for those who have extra challenges, it's it strengthens our resolve and gives us the ability to get to a point where we we don't have to feel threatened by others, because the more life experience that we go through, the more the stronger we build our emotional walls, and not necessarily in the sense of building those walls to keep other people out, but it's more along the lines of building those walls to protect all these soft and squishy bits that are really vulnerable. um it actually reminds me of one of those passages by Ravenwolf that I've read before.
Uh-huh.
um I like if I can I read that one real quick.
Sure, sure.
um I've never really had a choice on the person I became. I went down all the broken roads and fell down so many times I didn't know if I would ever get back up sometimes. When you find all the doors closing and feel disappointment around every corner, you almost stop seeing the good things in your life. It's easy to get stuck in all the bad stuff and even easier to wallow in it. I had a choice. Either stay in the darkness and accept being miserable, or choose to rise above the struggle and forge an iron will that can't be broken. Yes, my wings got clipped for a time. Yes, I stumbled and fell to my knees. Yes, I stopped being happy for a while. But that's when I remembered who I was and that I was so much more than I had let myself become. I'm not a failure even though I've failed. I've made mistakes, but that will never define me. I'll stumble and fall, but I won't stay down. Ever. I found myself in a black abyss that threatened to overwhelm me. However, that's not my story. Yes, it's one of heartbreak and struggle, a tale of failure and setbacks, but my story is so much more than that. It's also full of chapters of fighting back, finding my strength, and rising from the ashes. While I can't go and change the mistakes at the beginning, I hope and create a happy future. It may not be the prettiest tale of adventure, love, and dreams, but it will always be genuine, authentic, and real, just like me. Forget all the negativity that once dragged me down. I'm forging a different direction, one full of hope, love, and dreams that will resurrect my spirit in ways that once I didn't think possible. I know now what I never realized before. I control my own destiny, and it's up to me where I end up and how. Now I'm raising my voice, stoking my passion, and spreading my wings like I never did before. This time I'm reaching for the stars and never looking back. My life, my dreams. Just like me, they're absolutely strong and immeasurably beautiful.
Beautiful. Happiness is an inside job,
Hmm.
so I mean, there's a lot of difference between me and a lot of folks just in my age. I have been down all those dark roads, and you know it's just our life journeys hopefully get us to this point, you know as we age a little bit, to where we
Hmm.
understand and we've lived through some of the painful times, and it's just life. you
Hmm.
know it's just life, and we have to stand back up and get it on, so to speak, to be happy, and to look for those blessings. It's like, here, we can't we just tolerate the haters instead of love them? Okay, let's change the word love to be kind. you know
Hmm.
um if we don't figure out a way of changing those attitudes, nothing changes. So if we just tolerate them and we don't want to say hello, and we just continue on the way it's always been, and nothing changes.
Hmm.
we have to get back up. We have to move forward. We are out to expand the knowledge about trans folk
Hmm.
and and people of color and you know, and the list is endless. You know, let's change the way we feel about others.
Hmm.
You know, let's do this. And and so we're nearing the end of our hour and a half, and so let's just be kind. Be kind to each other. Be kind to those that we don't agree with. Be kind to
Hmm.
everyone, and you know, hopefully, we can grow into loving them at some point. You know, um, but if we don't make an effort, if we don't do things differently, nothing changes. And I don't think that any of us want things to stay the same. You know, that's I mean, how many times have you heard the only thing that's constant is change, you know, that stays the same is change,
Yeah.
or however it's said. You know, it's a crazy world out there, and it's constantly changing, and so let's be kind to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy enough. That's opening the heart, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Lead by example. We
Yeah,
show them. We show them kindness and love, and they will. You know, some of them will realize, okay, this person doesn't seem so bad. Maybe the idea I had of them was just a misconception. Maybe I should, look a little more into this. And so long as we continue to give the love and kindness, regardless, yeah, it says here about being tolerant, but at the same time, and I've said this before, we still have to give them a basic level of love as another human being. Because
amen.
when we fail at giving that basic level of love, we become no better than the ones who want to see us dead.
Right.
And in order to lead by example, we have to show that we can be the change. We be the change that you want to see.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and kind of end the show right there. Be the change that we want to see.
Exactly.
And so with that, let's bid everyone adieu.
Yeah.
Um, thank you all for being here today. Uh, Holly, Christy, Barbara Ann, Simone, Samantha. God, what a pleasure um, to have, and what a great time. Valine, hi, good to see you. So anyway, so let's just call it good.
Yeah. Good show.
Casey, we will see you next week, my friend.
Absolutely.
All right. And we look forward to Lara getting back here and joining us again. I think she's going to be gone about 4 weeks or so. And so we haven't forgotten her. She just disappeared, went to the great white north. I always give her a hard time about that. She said it's still green up there where she's going. It's not even in the
Wow.
snow country.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's nothing. Anyway, it looks like cool country where she goes. She showed pictures last year and said that was where they were going again this year.
Oh
So it'll
wow.
be good for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, Love you all.
Yep.
Bye-bye, everybody. I'm going to like send this out
Bye-bye.
with my outro, and we'll see you all later.